When someone knocks on your door at midnight and you hear a voice imitating yours saying, "Open the door, it's me," what would you do? Because in Anatolia, this has a real story, and those who hear this tale never open their doors carelessly at night again. Hello, dear viewers. Today I'll tell you the story of Karakoncolos, one of Anatolia's most feared creatures. Have you ever heard this story before? Share it with us in the comments. Karakoncolos. This name comes from the Turkish word kara, meaning black, and the Greek word kalos, meaning beautiful. But there's nothing beautiful about this creature. Human-sized, covered in fur, with eyes burning like fire, this creature appears especially on the coldest nights of winter. But why is it only seen in winter? Because Karakoncolos feeds on cold. On nights when snow falls, wind howls, and people take refuge in the warmth of their homes, it's outside, waiting for its prey, and its prey are innocent people. But Karakoncolos' most terrifying feature is its ability to perfectly mimic your voice. It reproduces the voice of someone in your house so realistically that the person opening the door only realizes at the last second that the one standing before them is not their loved one. Listen to what happened in a village in Kastamonu in the late 1800s. Zeynep Hanım was working at her loom at home on a winter night. Her husband, Mehmet Aya, hadn't returned from the market yet. At midnight, there was a knock at the door. "Zeynep, open the door, I'm very cold," her husband's voice. But there was something strange. The voice seemed to come from very far away. Zeynep Hanım approached the door. "Mehmet Bey, is that you?" she asked. "Of course it's me. I'm very cold. Open immediately." But Zeynep Hanım noticed something. Her husband never called her Zeynep. He always said Zeyno. And that night, something very strange happened. Just as she reached to open the door latch, the house cat started clawing at the door frantically. Animals can sense Karakoncolos, you see. The cat was screaming so terribly that Zeynep Hanım hesitated. At that moment, her real husband's voice came from behind. "Zeyno, what's happening?" Mehmet Ağa was home. He had quietly entered through the back door. When they both approached the door together, the voice outside began to change. It was no longer Mehmet's voice, but an unknown, hoarse, metallic sound. "Open this door! Open it!" And then, terrible claw sounds. When Karakoncolos gets angry, it reveals its true form. It knocked on the door until morning, circling around the house. Sometimes it mimicked Zeynep's mother's voice. Sometimes it imitated their dead children's voices. But, thanks to the family's cat, the door was never opened. So, how do you protect yourself from Karakoncolos? Anatolian wisdom teaches us several methods. First method, never open the door immediately after midnight. Even if it's the voice of someone you know, first look through the window. Second method, steal objects keep Karakoncolos away. That's why people used to nail horseshoes to their doors in the old days. The third method is prayers. Karakoncolos fears sacred words. But the Karakoncolos story didn't remain in the past. An event that happened in a village in Sivas in the 1970s is still talked about. A shepherd named Hasan was returning to his village on a winter night. It was a snowy, foggy night. Suddenly he heard his father's voice. "Hasan, my son, come this way. You've lost your path." Hasan began walking toward where the voice came from. But something bothered him. His father's voice was getting farther and farther away, as if it was pulling him somewhere. Until he slipped and fell. He looked at where he had fallen and froze. He was at the edge of a deep cliff. If he had taken one more step... Modern psychology explains the Karakoncolos legend like this. During long winter nights, loneliness and fear can distort human perception. Wind sounds can seem like familiar voices. But this explanation can't account for the details passed down for centuries. Because Karakoncolos stories don't happen to just one person. Multiple people experience the same thing on the same night, in the same village, at the same hours, with the same voice imitation techniques. The traditions developed in Anatolia to protect against Karakoncolos are very interesting. During winter months, garlic is hung on the outer walls of houses. Iron pieces are placed behind doors. And most importantly, no one goes outside after midnight. Some villages had Karakoncolos watch. The men of the village took turns patrolling at night. Because Karakoncolos prefers solitary people, It doesn't attack people in groups. Let me tell you one last story. 1989, a village in Erzurum. A teacher named Mehmet had come to his village for winter vacation. He was called on the phone at midnight. The caller identified himself as his neighbor Ahmet. "Mehmet, we have an emergency. Come immediately." Mehmet grabbed his coat and went out. He began walking toward Ahmet's house in the snowy night. But what was strange was this. Each time, Ahmet's voice came from farther and farther away. "Come this way, Mehmet." He walked following the voice, walked until he left the village. Suddenly he stopped. Ahmet's house was inside the village. Why had he gone outside the village? At that moment, the real Ahmet's voice came from behind him. "Mehmet, where are you going at this hour?" The real Ahmet had come out of his house looking for him. Even today, Karakoncolos stories continue to be told in some villages of Anatolia. Of course, now phones ring, WhatsApp messages come. But the essence is the same. A familiar voice, midnight, a strange call. Are these stories real? Or are they just remnants of old fears? Everyone answers this question with their own experiences. The Karakoncolos story teaches us something important. When you hear strange voices at midnight, don't be hasty. Because some things are not what they seem, and some voices are not real. Do you know similar legends? What's the percentage chance this story is real? Participate in our poll. And which legend would you like us to tell next week? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like the video. See you in the next video. Take care of yourselves.